We've made a signing, people. Arsenal have signed Kepa Arrizabalaga, and we knew it was coming, but let's react to it anyway. Some quotes have come out, some bits of media from Arsenal Football Club has been done. Love to know your thoughts in the comment section below. There's, a bit to go into. The Madueke stuff needs to be talked about too. So I'll be live for the next half hour or so. Obviously, the Goonerverse 2 is the place for instant reaction as there's kind of big news doing the rounds, when there's an update on kind of reports or whatever. But I'll still look to always go live here on this channel when there's an actual announcement. There's kind of like a really big breakthrough, because the thing I really enjoy doing is getting all your thoughts in the comments as we go through it and we make sense of everything together. But the big news is that Kepa Arrizabalaga is an Arsenal player. He's been given the number 13 shirt. We've signed him for £5 million, paying his release clause from Chelsea. What I'd love to know is how he ended up with a £5 million release clause in there. I mean, how did that happen? There must have been something to do with the amount of games played or something. That meant he could go for a certain price. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how we ended up in that situation. I think everyone just kind of accepted, oh, there's a £5 million release clause, on we go. But when you stop and think about it, why? Why is that the case? And what is it? The 1st of July, and it was about well, I know because I was away, so it was about between the 2nd of June and maybe the 5th or 6th of June. That news came out that Arsenal were not only interested in Kepa Arrizabalaga, but that within a couple of days, everything was pretty concrete and moving ahead. And it was like, no, there's really something to this. And quite quickly, it sort of emerged. Look, I think David Ornstein tweeted something along the lines of, Arsenal are now likely to sign him. Like it's pretty much moving that way, and all the formalities and everything just needs to be done. Arsenal pay the £5 million release clause, and he's happy to come in and compete with David Raya. So we've got two very good goalkeepers. I mean, David Raya, I see, is one of the best goalkeepers in the league. Kepa Arrizabalaga, I think, is a better goalkeeper than people probably realise, because he spent a year at Bournemouth, because he was a backup at Real Madrid, because his Chelsea stint as a £70 million, record-breaking goalkeeper didn't go so well. But he's had some good periods after that. And I think people do remember things like the petulance when Maurizio Sarri tried to take him off in the Carabao Cup final and things like that. I mean, certain things kind of stick with players, right? But Arsenal clearly have seen opportunity. And while I'm not a massive fan of signing Chelsea players, and we've done a lot of that, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, this is probably going to be one of the better ones. I think Jorginho's aged well. I think Kai Havertz, it still hangs in the balance. I think David Luiz ultimately helped us win an FA Cup, though probably still wasn't at the level we wanted. Kepa Arrizabalaga needs to be a very solid Premier League proven backup goalkeeper, and I'd be amazed if he isn't that. So we'll go through everything. We'll go through the announcements. We'll go through, just kind of what he said, what's been said. And we'll kind of make sense of it all. But let me just hi to everyone in the comment section below. And yes, we are going to talk about Madueke as well. Yes, DJ Ash B says, Cecil / AFC have dropped the Kepa welcome video. So funny with AGT. It is very, very good. I want to watch the Turkish one together in a little bit, because it is very funny. I've got that ready to go. Great bit of business by the club, says Adam Webb. That's very nice. Am I pronouncing it right? Zombie? Is that, am I pronouncing it right? But thank you. It's very, very kind of you. And there are a lot of YouTubers out there, so thank you. I really appreciate it. Totally, Carl. Good to see you. Ryan, always good to see you too. You're far too kind, Totally, Carl. But thank you. Tamina says Madueke to Arsenal's fake news. I don't believe. Well, I don't think it is. We're gonna have to talk about that in a little bit. KDKD with the super chat early says thank you very much. By the way, he says if we are ready to spend 40-50 million on Madueke, I'd rather spend it on Semenyo, not another Chelsea player. There's so many players in the market, and he mentions Gordon too. Yeah, we'll talk about all those. KDKD. I remember the time we met before we got on the plane back to London. It was a pleasure meeting you, man. So thank you for joining us on the live stream. James, get an Eze number 10 kit, please. Do you know what? Look, I talked about this on the Goonerverse too, so I won't talk about Eze in a lot of detail. But I will say it was really encouraging to hear David Ornstein say, he's an addition to the winger and the striker. He is set. We actually say separate, which I think is even better. He's saying he is separate to those pursuits, and I really, really like that. That's exactly how Arsenal should be doing business. Exactly how Arsenal should be squad building, and it was really, really encouraging to see that. I've talked about that all in the Goonerverse too. So if you want update on that, because it was just an update, it wasn't kind of like a concrete, this is definitely happening. That I'll always kind of cover here on the Goonerverse main channel, but the extra sort of additional bits of information that come out, I'll cover on the Goonerverse too. Also worth saying at the time of this is so annoying because we literally just dropped, I think 4 hours ago, we dropped a podcast, me and Ben, Transfers Explained, where we talked in real detail about Norgard, about Mosquera, some more recent links, and obviously we covered a little bit Eze, but I think that will be next Monday's pod, will be like a deeper dive on Eze. So yeah, please go check that podcast out. But anyway, let's get back to it because we're not live for that long and I don't want to keep you all waiting too long. So let's do it. Here we go. Kepa Arrizabalaga signs for Arsenal. I'd quite like to, you know what? We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there because I can get your comments up. Hand of Arsenal. Hope you're well, James. Hand of Arsenal. Congratulations to you and all the amazing just scoops, insight, exclusives, the shout outs from Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein. Well done to you, getting the recognition you absolutely deserve. You need to change that. You need to change to your new logo here on YouTube. But everyone show some love to the Hand of Arsenal and go follow him on X because that's where you're, quite frankly, getting, along with Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano, your most reliable transfer news around Arsenal. So, yeah, congrats to you and thank you for joining the stream, man. And actually correct me in the comments, by the way, if you are following this live through the whole way. Correct me if there's anything on the information front that I'm getting right or wrong. Because, yeah, any clarity would always be great. But let's talk about Kepa. So, Kepa Arrizabalaga signs for Arsenal. There he is. There's also a picture of him with Bert. I think I've got to share with you later. 30, or he's 30. Oh. Has won major honours for clubs and country. We know he's playing 140 appearances in the Premier League. Cool. He arrives from Chelsea and spent the last 2 seasons on loan at Real Madrid and Bournemouth. He's doing the reverse Dean Howson, though House was never at Chelsea. Never mind. Cool. I mean, look, there's some lovely detail on him if you want to pause and read all that. But what I wanted to read was this stuff. I've signed his contract. Kepa said, I'm really, really happy to be here, really excited and looking forward to what is coming. The ambition that is shown in this club when I talk with Mikel and Iñaki, of course, Iñaki Kanya is the goalkeeper coach, how much they show me their desire to win. I think we are so close to winning and hopefully all together we can achieve it. Sporting director Andrea Bert said, we are really excited to have Kepa join our Arsenal family. He's a player with great experience, someone who has already won major trophies, and we cannot wait for him to join the group and help the club win. Kepa knows this is an exciting time to be at Arsenal, and we know he's a player who will bring with him a winning mentality. We welcome him and his family to the club and look forward to him meeting the players and staff. We're everyone excited to see him. I think Charles Watts confirmed that Zubimendi Zubimendi's probably going to get announced tomorrow, because I think Zubimendi and Kepa are training with Arsenal tomorrow on pre-season, so that would be interesting to see. Arteta says, we are really happy to have Kepa joining us. He's a player we know, having come up against him many times in recent seasons. I keep needing to sneeze. Please don't sneeze, James. I'm going to sneeze. There we go. I muted it, I think. There we go. We're back. We're back in the room. Hay fever? It could be. Right. He brings a wealth of experience with his teammates, which his teammates will benefit from, and he's a real hunger to win. Kepa works hard and will elevate our levels. I know he will fit in perfectly. Am I all right? Can I not read? Already knowing some of his teammates, we're really excited about his future with us. Kepa will wear the number 13 shirt and will immediately join up with his new teammates at the Sober Realty Training Centre. So, it's an interesting little update. Not that really matters so much, but does this mean that they're all going to meet in London for pre-season training, I imagine, which I think is to commence this week or tomorrow. I can't remember what I read. And also, does this mean they're not doing the training camp in Spain, or are they going to fly off for the training camp in Spain? I don't really know. Anyway, everyone at Arsenal welcomes Kepa to the club. Cool, we agree with all that. Brilliant. This was the announcement video from Arsenal. I'd love to know what you think. Here we go. Can you hear this? Okay. I don't think there's much to hear. I don't know if I should be showing you this. I don't know if it's copyrighted or anything, but anyway, whatever. It's an announcement tweet. A bit of editing by Arsenal. I mean, that's the video they've done with it. Whatever you think. Is this going to be the style that they're going to do for most of them? There's not a lot of... Anyway, that's the welcome video. What do you think? Yeah, what do you think? Welcome to the Arsenal. Kepa Arrizabalaga. And of course, we read a lot of what was said if you hit this link. Quite a nice little announcement. Nothing too don't know if we were signing like an Eze or Rodrigo, that feel a little bit underwhelming as an announcement. But actually, it's just quite like as Diogo Santos says. He says he likes the video. I quite like it too. I don't really know why. He doesn't really do much. I don't really care how these things are announced, to be honest. But bit of fun, something a bit different. And yeah, as you can see, the likes of Connor Hum aggregating some of the comments here. Kepa as well. Charles Watts as well doing the same. This was Kepa arriving at Sober Realty Training Centre with Andrea Berta there to welcome him. I didn't realise that Kepa was that tall, but fair play to him. And then, of course, we had other briefings today, and one of them we're going to talk about is this player here, Madueke. We'll get to that in just a little bit. What do we make of this tweet? Did Arsenal sign a player from Chelsea? 2019-20, yes. Followed by Willian. No one in 21-22. Then Jorginho. Then Havertz. Then Sterling. Then Kepa. I mean, guys, quite an extraordinary list. You could add Madueke in that, and if you do, that's 7 Chelsea players in 7 years. And then that doesn't look at the likes of Yossi Benayoun, William Gallas, and a few others. Lassana Diarra. We've done a fair amount of business with Chelsea, and not a lot of people love it. Look, I don't love it. If we go through that list, Luiz, I'm going to rate them out of 10. I think Luiz was a 6. I thought he was better than people gave him credit for. And obviously played really well to help win us the FA Cup. So, fair play. Willian was a 1. He scored 1 good free kick and a hat-trick of assists against Fulham. That's why he gets 1. Jorginho was an 8 for me. £12 million in to do a job. And actually I thought played at a very good level for us. So 8, maybe even 9. I think Jorginho's the best on that list. Kai Havertz is a 7 for me, because ultimately he did start up front for us in our best run and our best period of form under Mikel Arteta. But I still have questions over the fee and the wages and everything. And now we're looking for a striker. What does that say about quite how much he's grabbed that position? Raheem Sterling's a 0, and that's another reason why William's a 1, because I think Sterling's been worse than Willian. And let's see what Kepa will be. I think Kepa will ultimately be a shrewd bit of business. I agree with you, Thierry. Good to see you in the comments. Thanks for everything you did for Arsenal. Benayoun was good. Yeah, I thought Benayoun was fine. I thought he was all right, and he was a panic buy on transfer deadline day after we lost 8-2 to Man United in 2011. So we need to do something, and we went and got Benayoun, and Mikel Arteta is now a manager and a few other players. So there we go, everyone. I mean, my general thoughts on Kepa ultimately is this, and then I want to show you Dirk's welcome video. Also, my thought is, now that we're hearing more about what Arsenal want to do, and I want to stress the word want, because we're still quite far away from a 10, a winger, and a striker. But the fact that the intentions are there, publicised by David Ornstein, who would not put that information out if that is not what the club wanted to get out there. The club and I'm not saying he doesn't have other sources, of course he does. He doesn't just tweet what the club say. I'm not saying that. But he's one of the best journalists around. He will be checking everything. It will be fact-checked with multiple sources. That's why he's always spot on, David Ornstein. And it would have been ultimately somewhere from very reliable sources given the thumbs up, yeah, Arsenal want to add Eze in addition to a winger and a striker. And when you hear that they had to replace Thomas Partey because they weren't going to do the contract, you can all feel how you feel about it. But I think ultimately I can understand why the club did it. They signed Zubimendi. They want a 10, they want a winger, they want a striker, they want Mosquera. I can understand why Kepa, a Premier League proven goalkeeper, 5 million, made more sense than, and now, okay, John Garcia's gone to Barcelona, so maybe we couldn't have got him anyway. But it makes way more sense to go for this kind of deal than ultimately, trying to force a 15, 20 million pound sort of signing of a younger goalkeeper. I kind of feel the same about a potential 30, 40 million pound centre back, like when we've been linked to Diamonde and Hato. And I feel the same about Christian Norgard for around 10 million. If, and it is all under the if bracket, if Arsenal go and sign a 10, a left winger and a striker, I will understand why, and I kind of understand anyway now, but don't think it will just really complete the puzzle for why the Kepa, Mosquera with his sort of contract situation for Valencia and Norgard deals at that particular price point and those particular players make a lot more sense for the depth we've added, considering we wanted to do really big things in the forward line. And this is why I was saying to people, and look, I'm not going to pretend I haven't like worried about the transfer window in Arsenal. Of course, I mean, January wasn't that long ago, okay? January was a shambles of a window. But I kind of was thinking, look, we can only really judge this when it's all done. And I know we can get an idea for how things are looking. I know we can say, well, the window's not looking encouraging. Well, we got concerns of the past. Well, we were acting quite slowly. Ultimately, there are things being done in the background. Andrea Berta's just come in. There's no way he's looking to have a quiet first window. And Arteta will want help. He's called for it. And so there's a lot of pressure internally. Forget from the fans. There's pressure internally from players like Timber, who's spoken about it, Saka, Saliba, and others who actually haven't put pen to paper on their contracts yet. Mikel Arteta, Andrea Berta, there's pressure from within the club for the Cronkies and the club to act properly and deliver. Now, crazy that I'm sort of, as we announced Kepa Arrizabalaga, using this as the moment to try and make that point. I just think, like I said, if Kepa and Norgard were combined 15 million and actually add another 15 million for Mosquera, 30 million pounds to add really kind of crucial depth to the team, and that leaves us a lot of resources to go do everything else that we reportedly want to do now. That just for me makes complete and utter sense. And I can only say well done to the club for it, but let's see if they deliver on that. I want to show you Turkish's announcement. This is very funny. Here he is. I think he must have recorded this in South Africa.
Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. Another welcome video. I say another one because it's 1st of July, 2nd of July, it's time. PSR, no longer a worry. So the signings can now come in thick and fast. And hopefully they are, because I've got a few welcome vids ready in the bank. And this is another one, as you can see from the thumbnail, as you can see from the title. It's welcome Kepa Arrizabalaga. Hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed. Love for the love, nothing more to say.
Thank you for the profound words, Turkish. Oh, now I've got a Culture Cows video that's just started playing. Look, people, I think the point is no one is meant to be hay fever's killing me, man. No one is meant to be super excited about this announcement. No one is meant to be blown away because Arsenal signed Kepa Arrizabalaga. We just needed a player we could rely on, who we didn't have to replace in a year's time, who quite frankly, if we do, by the way, would go for more money and make a profit, right? Because, I mean, he's signing a contract. I mean, we're not selling him for less than the 5 million we just bought him for. He's probably a £20 million goalkeeper, 15, £20 million goalkeeper. It was a perfect announcement, I know. The only negative thing about this video is that he forgot about Proton VPN. No one's expecting you to jump up and down and go crazy for Kepa Arrizabalaga. But I think with everything Arsenal do, we have to understand why they're doing it. Now, the obvious thing is, like I said, the need for a backup goalkeeper, the need for someone who we can trust to be a number two. But the other big thing is everything I mentioned, what knock-on effect does it have? And it's something that Ben and I talked a lot about in the podcast that came out earlier today. So, yeah, have a little watch of that if you're interested. Let's give my thoughts very quickly on Noni Madueke, because this stuff has started to bubble up. I was live on Talking Transfers last Thursday on AFTV, and I was asked about, well, the Madueke stuff started to break. Was that 2 weeks ago? That was 2 weeks ago. Bear with me. I want to have a little look at this. I just want to see. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Talking Transfers. Yeah, it was. Wow. Okay. 11, 12 days ago. So 2 weeks ago, come this Thursday. Right. And I was live with Kenya, Laurie, and Turkish talking about it. And I asked everyone, I said, guys, hands up. Is there something to this or not? Is this just a general rumor, or is there actually some weight to this? And we were split. Me and Laurie felt there was some actual weight to this, and Kenya and Turkish said no, they think this is just kind of another name that's been thrown out there. Now, because it's Arsenal and it's a Chelsea player, I think we should all have been sort of wise to the fact that there was probably a lot more in this. What we've had confirmed today from Gunner Blog, so we've had a few bits of news. Gunner Blog said that he is one of the players looked at as a versatile attacking option away from the striker and the winger. So that includes Madueke, Rodgers, and Eze. Interestingly, because I see how Rodgers and Eze are together in there, I don't see how Madueke is a part of that, but okay. Then we had Florian Plettenberg say that Arsenal have actually made an offer to Madueke himself in terms of personal terms and tried to get an idea for what the deal could look like. From a player to club perspective. And then Fabrizio Romano said there's been no proposal and basically sort of went against what Florian Plettenberg said. Now, there's an update from Hand of Arsenal, which said, regarding Noni Madueke, you know what, you all want to see this. All right. Bear with me. Let me get up on screen. Hand, I hope you're still in the comments. What have I done? I've made a mess of this. Cool. Okay. Don't know why I got rid of Twitter when I was sharing it earlier. I'm being stupid. Okay, can you see this? Yeah. Arsenal, the club have been speaking to his reps the last few weeks. The club hold genuine interest in Noni, but talks are not advanced on personal terms. No proposal made to the player. Chelsea, club officials have denied any bid being made. The players expressed interest in our project, but has reservations about competing with Saka. Furthermore, the players not keen on playing left wing either. In truth, the interest is genuine, but as of today, as you were. Thank you to Hand of Arsenal. Lots of detail in there. Now, my feeling on Madueke is I'm not a huge fan of the player. I don't think he's a bad footballer. I don't think this is like signing Sterling and Willian. But I also don't think this does anything for us. I think Waneri should be covering in central midfield and on the right. I think we sign a left winger, and at the moment it doesn't look like Martin and Trossard are going anywhere. Then one of them might go. But then Jesus will return. He can play on the right at some point. For a position that was such a problem for us, I think it's now become a position we'll be absolutely fine in, because you've got Saka, you've got the new winger if we get them in, you've got Waneri, you've got Jesus to return. I just think we'll be fine. Even if you sign Eze and a winger, then ultimately you could play, say it's Rodrigo on the right and Eze on the left, and have Rice, Odegaard, and Zubimendi in midfield three. I mean, what a team! So I really think I don't think we need an out-and-out right winger. So I was interested into why Madueke was grouped with Eze and Rodgers, because Eze and Rodgers are 10s, attacking midfielders, players that can play on the left. Rodgers has played on the right a little bit, and Eze probably can. It's just not how I'd use them. So I understand those two being linked. And again, great that David Ornstein said that. So I've just seen a comment. Well, I'm just going off what's been said, right? The reports are that Arsenal want Eze and a winger and a striker. So we've got to assume Arsenal are working to do the things that have been briefed they're trying to do. So I don't know how Madueke fits in unless Arteta thinks he can play him centrally, but I just don't see that at all. And again, is he really going to come up and say, yeah, I want to be a backup to Bukayo Saka? Yeah, I'll just I'll play a bit part role. I don't see that for him. I don't really see that for the club. I don't see £50 million being worth it with everything else they're trying to do, unless that 50 million and that third attacker comes in the form of an Eze or Rodgers, who's an attacking midfielder who I feel we need. Look, my instinct is Madueke thing won't go anywhere. I think he's just one of the players mentioned, and Berta, like with Sesko and Gyökeres, maybe likes to get multiple things out there to put a bit of pressure on Crystal Palace. I think Crystal Palace will feel, and to be honest, rightly so, actually they've got a good release clause there, a sensible release clause at £67 million. They're even willing to do business at £20 million installments. I just don't see a world in which they're going to budge from that. I think that's a good offer. I think that's completely fair. Would Arsenal be willing to pay more up front for a lesser fee? Would they be willing to pay 40 million up front but get him for 55 million? Does that suit Palace? I don't know. I'm just not entirely convinced by the Madueke links. Nor by the idea that Arsenal could get Palace down on their fee. So, and what would Villa want for Rodgers? Probably a lot of money because there's supposed PSR concerns, but that doesn't seem to have been much of a problem as we've hit 1st of July. So yeah, there's quite a lot to digest and balance there. Arsenal signed Kepa Arrizabalaga, but no, I don't think, answering my title, I don't think Madueke is next. I think he's just one who's been mentioned. But just one thing I want to say, and look, I understand that people aren't a massive fan of Madueke and that maybe they're feeling a bit disappointed how the window's going, and I can understand all that to a degree. But we've just heard that Madueke would be the third attacker. It's a striker, then it's a left winger, and I don't mean that's the order in which they're going to sign them. I mean he would be like the third more important addition as a backup to Saka, but a versatile attacker who can help in other ways. And when I look at that, I think, is there really anything we can complain about here? Well, Arsenal want to sign 3 forward-thinking players. I just don't really understand why there's a problem there. You don't have to love the player. I mean that could be it. Maybe they say, yeah, but we need those players, but we need quality too. And I understand that. And I'm not trying to tell you we should be happy about Noni Madueke, guys. But it's not like he's the answer to the left wing. He's a starting player for a team that just got Champions League football, finishing 4th, 5th in the Premier League. And he would be a backup for us. I mean, I feel that's quite a sensible position to be in. I mean, if we signed him as our only winger, I'd be really disappointed. If we signed him as our only forward, I'd be super disappointed. But if we add Cesco Gyökeres and Rodrigo or Gordon, and then he's the third, I'm going, yeah, fair play. Like, you've added quality. Do I want Eze more? Absolutely, people. Don't get me wrong. I want Eze because I don't actually think Madueke solves that much. But at least I'd go, fair play. You've added some real quality. Waneri is going to be a midfielder long term. Then you've got Lewis Skelly there. And actually, the midfield looks really, really stacked. But I just don't really see why him being mentioned as a third option is so bad. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. We'll go live. Stay live for another couple of minutes. Question, James, how much would you take Noni for? So how much would I be willing to pay right now for Noni Madueke? Considering I don't really want him, but let's say we signed a left winger and a striker, we weren't going to get Eze Rodgers, they're not going to happen, and we just needed a third attacker to cover for Saka when he's going to play in midfield more. 25, 30 million. And I'm not saying, by the way, I think he's a better player than that. That's how much I would do. I really am past the point of buying players from Chelsea, if I'm honest. I don't really want to keep giving them money to go on other players. I'd rather get, like, Kudus and Bemo. If we were going to sign other sort of starting right wingers from within the Premier League to compete with Saka and do other jobs in the team, I'd rather we went for that. Madueke is a decent player, but if he was still at PSV, I bet our attitude would be different, but I don't want him still. Yeah, probably another left back for a striker. You're right. Please sign Madueke. He's a very, very good player. Are you a Chelsea fan? Ornstein said the same about Eze, that it's in addition to the striker and winger plans. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Really important we know that. Zubimendi, Rodrigo, Eze, and a striker would be a hell of a transfer window if we could pull off. I couldn't agree more. When you're looking at Kepa, Mascara, Norgard as your depth, but Zubimendi, Rodrigo, Eze, and a striker, Cesco Gyökeres, as your sort of front-facing marquee signings for the summer, I'd say wow. I'd say fair play. That's a very, very, very impressive transfer window. It could be Newcastle. Yeah, it could be Newcastle that go for Madueke. You're absolutely right. Yes, a good point. The World Cup's next year. Surely wants guaranteed minutes. I would think he wants guaranteed minutes as a starting right winger because he's going to compete against Saka already for England. Does he want to do it at Arsenal? You lot realise Berta wants all the info on release clauses. Yeah, he does, but I think he wants all info on every potential player before he goes and executes deals. I think he likes to see how clubs' positions change with the information that Arsenal are looking at others too. So let's see. A lot of people are agreeing with what we're saying. What else? Let's get one more in. Please God, no, not Madueke. This is a travesty, man. You lot are so harsh. Yeah, to sum up, guys, I'm going to round it off there. Thank you for your comments. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. To sum up, Kepa Arrizabalaga is an Arsenal player. Noni Madueke has been linked. He is a player we're looking for as a versatile third attacker that could join. But you've got Eze's been strongly linked there. And there's some encouragement. And there's potential this happens. And David Ornstein's talking about it as an extra player to the winger and striker. And I rarely hear Arsenal do that. So I said on my Goonerverse 2 video, for the first time in a long time, I'm genuinely encouraged by what Arsenal appear to want to do. Let's see if they can execute it. I'm live at 7 p.m. with Curtis on AFTV, so look out for that at 7. Obviously, any news and updates will come out on the Goonerverse too, but the podcast is out too with Ben Mattinson. So there's so much content, but I hope you enjoyed this. And excited to keep you up to date with all the latest transfer stuff here on the two Goonerverse channels. Because it's starting to hot up. Arsenal definitely getting busy. Catch you on a bit.